Tonight, breaking news in Sydney's southwest. A car slams into a shop in Greenacre. 12 people have been injured. We'll have the latest live from the scene. A young woman murdered, stabbed to death in her Western Sydney home. Her husband now in police custody. A payday for casual workers and a huge blow to business. $12 billion in back pay is now heading into millions of bank accounts. The bickering over borders escalates. The Queensland Premier is taking a swipe at New South Wales, and now the federal government is having a crack. The COVID miracle man, Paul Cronin, was in a coma for 21 days after catching the virus on the Ruby Princess. Today, finally, he walked out of hospital. And with just a week to go until kick-off, the NRL draw is revealed. So, is your team a winner or a loser?
This is 10 News First, Sydney, with Hugh Riminton.
Well, good evening. We start tonight with breaking news. There is a major incident unfolding in Greenacre with a dozen people injured after an out-of-control car crashed into a shop full of people. Terrifying footage has just emerged showing the moment the car pushed another vehicle out of the way in a cloud of smoke before crashing through the front of a window of a shop selling hijabs, injuring 11 people. Police are trying to figure out what caused the driver to lose control, with one theory being that he suffered a medical episode. We will have more live from the scene shortly. Once again tonight, we report on the alleged murder of a young woman. A man has just been charged by police after his wife was found stabbed to death in their Western Sydney home. Neighbours have described hearing screaming and crying from the house in the moments before she was killed.
Leaving hospital under police guard is 31-year-old Baltej Lalna. Police will allege he killed his 27-year-old wife of 4 years, Kamaljit Sidhu, at their Quakers Hill home.
I was taking the rubbish bin out and I heard some scream. She was just screaming, crying.
It was just after 6:30 last night when police were called by Kamaljit's brother, who lives with the couple.
There was a conversation between the accused and the person of interest we have and the brother in regards to some actions he's committed on his wife, and as a result of that, the police were called.
Police, ambulance, everything came here.
You've never really feel unsafe in this area, so waking up to a news something like this is, it's very shocking and very disturbing.
When police arrived here at the house last night, they were allegedly told that Kamaljit's husband was still inside. Police say Kamaljit lay on the floor at the end of their bed. Officers then collected a bloodied kitchen knife they found next to her.
That 31-year-old male was taken into custody. He was treated and conveyed to Blacktown Hospital.
Officers issued an AVO against Baltej last month to protect his wife. It was served with standard conditions that still allowed the couple to remain living together. Today, Baltej was treated for cuts to his hands. He remains behind bars. Yes, and we can report some breaking news to you here at Riverstone Police Station. Just moments ago, that 31-year-old was charged with the murder of his wife. He will face court tomorrow. OK, Steve Hart, thank you. Now, casual workers have had a landmark industrial victory today. They have won the right to claim sick pay and take paid annual leave. But employers claim the extra cost will send them broke, leaving many part-timers out of a job.
A big win for casual workers.
I hope there'll be more job security.
And a massive blow to businesses.
This decision is unfortunately a driver of uncertainty into the employment market.
The federal court has ruled casuals are entitled to sick and annual leave.
What we have in front of us now is a clear message to every employer. You can't just buy off job security.
The cost? Billions. Experts predict a back bill of $12 billion to both small and big business. Going forward, it will add $6 billion to the wage bill every year.
And if the cost impact is so great that it would cause a lot of small businesses during what is their most challenging time to fold or go into liquidation or have to stand people down, that's not an outcome that's in anyone's mutual interests.
To qualify for JobKeeper payments, businesses had to admit they employed regular and systematic casuals.
Those people are now entitled to annual leave, sick leave, other things that they're now going to have a liability for.
Their honesty could now sink them.
So if JobKeeper was a form of life raft to businesses, then this has certainly put a hole in the side of that life raft.
Government sources have confirmed they want to use legislation to overrule the court decision, but are still weighing up exactly how to do so.
There are some very significant shortcomings in Australia's industrial relations system.
And the last thing the Parliament should be doing is acting as a protection racket to cover for people who've broken the law.
That characterises small business, I think, very unfairly.
And while the federal government can't appeal if one is lodged, Mr Porter says it'll have its full support. Stella Todorovic for 10 News First.
Let's take you back to that terrifying incident in Greenacre a short time ago. A car has crashed into a store. At least a dozen people are injured. Now, Sydney Pede is live for us right now in Greenacre. Sydney, do we know how this crash happened?
Good evening, Hugh. Well, it is still a crime scene and detectives are now investigating exactly how this could have happened, but really it is a miracle that no one was killed. Look at this vision. It is terrifying. We see a minivan crossing an intersection and crashing into a busy hijab store full of people, a lot of young girls, with Eid, the end of Ramadan just days away. Now, 11 pedestrians were injured in the crash. Fortunately, none are considered life-threatening and they've all been pulled out now. 2 have gone to Liverpool Hospital. The male driver was also treated by paramedics. It will now be an investigation into what happened. Police say there is no evidence to say that this is deliberate and it could have been a medical episode. And there is some vision of the driver in the seconds before the crash appearing to be passed out behind the wheel. But Hugh, it is an absolute miracle, as I say, that no one was more seriously injured.
Terrifying afternoon. Sydney Pede in Greenacre. Thank you. Now, there have been shouting matches and claims of bullying as the state's top cop and the police minister were accused of not knowing their own coronavirus laws. A parliamentary inquiry has been told a teenager was wrongly fined $1,000. Police say he had no reasonable excuse for being out of his home, but in law, he didn't need one.
New South Wales Police have issued more than 1,300 $1,000 fines to people and businesses for breaking coronavirus restrictions. After personally reviewing each fine, Commissioner Mick Fuller has overturned dozens.
We're up to about 60 fines were pulled, and I think the first one I pulled was a lady dropping off a hair straightener to a friend.
But the state's top cop is accused of checking fines without knowing the new rules. On the 31st of March, a public health order made it law that a person must not, without reasonable excuse, leave the person's place of residence. But then last Friday, a new order reversed that law, and according to the Health Department, it removed the previous stay-at-home requirement. Despite this, later that same day, Highway Patrol officers fined a 19-year-old man at Emu Plains because he did not provide a reasonable excuse for leaving home.
Now, you would have reviewed that. You obviously would have ticked off on that, but yet there was no obligation for him to have a reasonable excuse. How did this happen?
I'll take it on notice, thank you.
Don't you think that you should know what the obligations are under the public health order before you review them? How can you be reviewing them if you don't actually know what's in them?
I'm comfortable. If that's the biggest problem in my life, then I'm happy to accept that criticism.
Asked whether he knew the law had changed, the police minister referred questions to the Health Department.
You know I don't issue the health orders, don't you? Our role is to make sure that they're complied with.
The Commissioner points out Victoria Police has issued nearly 4 times as many fines, and he invites anyone who feels there's been a mistake to write to him. The Minister will also be writing, angry with the conduct of Greens MP David Shoebridge.
And I really object to the way that you've just treated the Commissioner in the line of questioning, just as much as I really object to the way that you spoke to my staff before we came on, and you'll be getting a letter of complaint from me for the bullying that you did to my staff earlier on.
Lachlan Kennedy for 10 News First.
Well, the Premier has hinted the rules for cafes, restaurants and bars may be relaxed again on June the 1st, that's Monday week, allowing 20 people in at once. 2 new cases of COVID-19 have been diagnosed in New South Wales from almost 10,000 tests. Our total number is now 3,082, with more than 2,600 recovered. The next step in our economic recovery involves getting international students back into our universities.
They bring in billions of dollars, and without them, universities face mass job losses and cuts to research funding.
Since the COVID-19 crisis began, New South Wales has seen 16,000 people come home via hotel quarantine, a protocol the Premier now wants extended to international students.
I think we should consider when foreign students are allowed back to complete their studies here to ensure the survival of those jobs.
At the University of Sydney alone, they estimate 12,000 jobs linked to the institution could be lost if foreign students aren't allowed back in.
The university is looking at a hole in its budget of $2.8 billion, of about $470 million for this year. That's significant, but we figure we can wear it if it's just this year, but we need to get those international students back.
And it's not just jobs, research will suffer too.
We spend $6 billion every year on research, and we get around $2 billion of that from the federal government. And so that shortfall, which is made up primarily by our international student market, is simply not there.
But the question of who will pay for the hotel stays still isn't clear.
That would be an arrangement we'd come to with the universities.
But some students already here are struggling. Nesha Parekh paid $18,000 for this semester at UTS. Now she's studying online, can't find work and can't get home.
We don't have any job, and also we are struggling here to food and groceries and rent, all these things.
The way that these international students are being treated right now is scandalous.
But there are some parts of the economy beginning to reopen. The Premier today hinting the move to allow 20 people inside restaurants, cafes and pubs could come as early as June 1. And they are investigating reopening beauty services.
It's fair to say I've been heavily lobbied by half the population.
Life under COVID-19 could soon look a whole lot better. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Now, the Queensland Premier is under growing pressure to reopen the state's borders, with Pauline Hanson now threatening to take it to the High Court. But Anastasia Palaszczuk isn't budging, and she says she won't be lectured to by us south of the Tweed.
Queensland isn't the only state standing firm and rejecting calls to reopen its borders.
We have, I believe, the best health officer here in the nation.
Western Australia, the Northern Territory and South Australia also aren't budging, even though the national health advice is there's no reason to stay closed.
If we keep our borders closed, we can actually accelerate lifting restrictions in our state.
But this isn't just a battle of the borders, with a looming state election shining the spotlight on the Sunshine State.
Lives are being destroyed, and there's just no logic to her position now. If she's conducting a social experiment, well, let us know.
New South Wales Liberal Premier Gladys Berejiklian has been a little more diplomatic.
We're all adults and we should be able to have this conversation. This isn't personal, this is about doing what we believe is in the best interests of our citizens.
But Queensland's Labor government isn't backing down.
It's very prevalent in New South Wales and Victoria.
With a population of 7.5 million and 400 active cases, it's not really that prevalent in New South Wales.
We're not going to be lectured to by a state that has the highest number of cases.
By the worst performing state in Australia.
One Nation's Pauline Hanson is threatening to take the dispute to new heights.
Open up the borders. Otherwise, I'm looking for a person in Queensland with standing to take her on in the High Court. I believe that she's using this as a political ploy in the lead up to the Queensland state elections. This is not leadership for the state.
There are strict constitutional rules around what is permissible and impermissible.
But Queensland's advice stands.
This is not the time for tourists to travel into Queensland, because one case can cause an enormous setback
for the health system, economy and maybe even political careers. Tegan George for 10 News First.
Our trade tensions with China now threaten to spill over to iron ore, with Chinese officials imposing new rules from next month, which could at the very least delay our exports. It comes after the US Secretary of State slammed China as a brutal regime as he took issue with China's threats of economic retaliation against us.
When it comes to the ups and downs of relationships, it hasn't been what you'd call a good week for Australia and China.
China's decision is one that does concern us deeply.
But now an old friend has leapt to our defence.
It's not right. We stand with Australia. The Chinese Communist Party chose to threaten Australia with economic retribution for a simple act of asking for an independent inquiry into the origins of the virus.
The US Secretary of State and the President have used daily media conferences to publicly condemn China over its COVID-19 response.
Well, China, you tell me about it. Do you think they're right numbers? Do you think China's giving the right number? I don't think so. I saw more problem on television than they were reporting, just by looking at a picture.
President Trump has also accused China of a mass worldwide killing. Tweeting some wacko in China just released a statement blaming everybody other than China for the virus, which has now killed hundreds of thousands of people. This hostile response from the US stems from its own frustrations, but follows China's decision to slap 80% trade tariffs on Australian barley.
I think the timing is more than just coincidental, and it's a part of their past playbook.
To say there are tensions is an understatement.
But let's just recap what's been happening here for the last few years, starting under Malcolm Turnbull. We've been demonising the Chinese and their system of governance.
It was simmering long before COVID-19.
We greatly underestimated the degree to which Beijing is ideologically and politically hostile to free nations. The whole world is waking up to that fact.
But this could be a new tipping point. Amber Austin-Wright for 10 News First.
Well, far more locally, there is just a week to go until the NRL season restarts, and a key detail has now been revealed. Matt Burke joins me now. Matt, we now know who's playing who.
Yeah, that's right, Hugh. Good evening. The draw has been released for the rest of the season, and not everyone is happy. Reigning premiers, the Roosters, are set for a horror run, but there's another City team that's been handed a winner.
20 rounds, 18 to go, all uninterrupted.
I think this year will mean more than other years, given all that we've been through to get the game back up and running.
But a premiership will be tougher for some than others. The Eels haven't won a title since 1986 and may never get a better chance. You could say they've got the dream draw. They'll play most of their games at Bankwest Stadium and only face heavyweights, the Storm, Roosters, Raiders and Bunnies, once each. Other notable winners include the Raiders, Penrith and Cronulla.
There are no easy games. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. There's always going to be elements of inequality in any long competition.
And that's been noted. Roosters chairman Nick Politis fuming at their schedule. He's even banned the word draw within their club. The back-to-back premiers are already 0-2. Now they've got 2 matches against last year's top 4. They joined the Storm and Warriors on the losers list. There'll be 2 grand final rematches in rounds 10 and 17, and we'll finish the season with another rivalry round, kicking off with a Queensland derby. State of Origin has been officially locked in, but no venues confirmed just yet. The women will get a standalone Friday match. So now that the draw has been finalised, everyone has their opinion on the premiership favourites. We put that question to the game's boss today, but like a true politician, he was playing it very cool.
So I'm going to get myself into trouble here, so I won't answer this. So I'm going to actually just smile and say everyone has their opinion on this, and I certainly have mine, but I'm not going to share it today.
Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
And Hugh, if you're going to win, you've got to beat everyone. So let's get it on.
Absolutely. Just not a game, I think. Still to come. Thank you, Matt. Still to come, we've got the miracle from death's door to recovery, the Ruby Princess passenger who has been let out of hospital against all the odds. An alleged serial driving offender arrested for hitting a pedestrian. Global coronavirus cases hit their highest daily level since the outbreak began. Confusion around children's sport as clubs try to navigate a path back to normal play. And the old is new again. Drive-ins make a comeback thanks to that virus.
Chopsticks at the ready.
We would like you to pimp up these instant noodles.
Your 2-minute noodles are getting
getting a MasterChef makeover.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
The pimped up 2-minute noodles. Tonight on 10. And in MasterChef's Best Dish Week, what will be the greatest ever dish?
My God.
Wow.
While we're all having nights in, make yours a big night in. Because this year you could win up to $8,000 worth of prizes from a huge range. Woolworths Big Night In. There's a new winner every day.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
So many things can change in 12 weeks. One of the least to change, the vibrancy of your hair colour. Tresemme Colour Shine Flex. Sulfate free. Keeps colour more vibrant for up to 12 weeks. Hair defined by Tresemme. The rest is defined by you.
Can't wait to get back to the footy. Oh, so good. Oh, there's been a spill. He picks up the crumbs, goes left, goes right. He's got it back in the bathroom.
Hot food, just $3 at 7-Eleven.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those at a greater health risk during these times. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy meals delivered safely with our contactless delivery service, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
You'd never clean your surfaces with this, so why use this? Sponges can carry millions of germs. Dettol wipes kill germs instead of spreading them. Now biodegradable and compostable.
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
Monday, Hayley, Mick and Anne are ready to rumble with Ed and Sam. On You, have you been paying attention?
Welcome back. Police have charged a man in connection with the brutal assault of a young woman in the city last August. The 29-year-old was arrested at Granville Police Station this morning after this photo was released. He has since been charged with assault. Police believe he approached a woman at Central Station, followed her to the nearby university, where he grabbed her by the hair and tried to pull her into a shop. She broke free, ran away and alerted police. A 20-month-old girl is dead and two men are fighting for their lives in hospital after a terrible 24 hours on our roads. One man, a jogger, was knocked down in rush hour, while another pedestrian was hit by a driver allegedly 5 times over the alcohol limit.
Drunk and confused.
You're under arrest. Under arrest.
That's how police allege they found 26-year-old Lewin Zhu at 3 this morning.
To see someone high-range drink driving at a very high level, driving unlicensed, clearly shows a lack of responsibility.
Police say he sped through the intersection on Key Street in Haymarket, ploughing into a pedestrian with his white BMW. And while paramedics worked to stabilise the man who'd been hit, an unlicensed Zhu sat metres away, allegedly refusing to be breathalyzed.
Can you close this machine for us?
Mr. Zhu was granted bail despite being unable to provide any financial surety. His lawyer told the court he earns no income and his lifestyle in Australia is funded entirely by his parents overseas. It's the latest incident in a terrible 24 hours on our roads. The horror began yesterday at 5 p.m. A 20-month-old girl was crushed under the wheels of a four-wheel drive at a property west of Albury. Half an hour later, in Sydney's west, a 3-car pile-up sent 4 people to hospital. 25 minutes after, a jogger was left to fight for his life, run down by a car on Rundle Road in Busby. 2 other men were lucky to survive this crash in Greenacre in the city's west, pulled free from the wreckage of a car before it burst into flames after hitting a parked truck at speed late last night.
Selfish, dangerous and stupid driver behaviour. Anyone's family could have been driving the other way and been struck by this vehicle.
And with rain making roads even more dangerous tonight, drivers carry even more responsibility. Sydney Pede for 10 News First.
Now, before the last election, the Coalition mocked Labor's push for electric cars. Now, Scott Morrison and his embattled Energy Minister have done a backflip. As political editor Peter Van Onselen explains, the government is now all aboard.
Today, the government released a discussion paper on the technology Australia must embrace for cheap, reliable energy, which helps lower emissions.
This is the first stage in an important process of establishing technology priorities for reducing emissions.
And guess what that includes? A push for more electric cars on the roads. 12 months ago, we were told this.
It's about time this country got in front of the electric car revolution.
Only for the Coalition to issue these warnings.
We are going to stand by our tradies and we are going to save their utes.
Taking the choices away from Australians of what car they even are going to drive.
They completely went hysterical, and now it appears that actually what we were saying just a year ago is actually what needs to happen.
Today, the Energy Minister defended the backflip.
Well, I tell you what we attacked and will continue to attack is Labor's policies which tell people what sort of car to drive.
As he now tells people they should drive an electric car. Unsurprisingly, Labor sees benefits in today's policy announcement.
They can take that pathway to the extent that this roadmap does that. Well, we will embrace it.
The government's policy is about more than electric cars like this one. It's also about capturing carbon in soils and hydrogen and gas technology. The aim is to be environmentally friendly and economically efficient. For anyone unclear about today's policy, the paper includes this helpful bubble graph to make everything plain and simple to understand. Clear as mud. Peter Van Onselen for 10 News First.
Well, whatever vehicle you're driving, it's time for a traffic update with Vic LaRusso right now. And how are things looking, Vic, on a very busy night?
Well, Hugh, you can see the live pictures of the Harbour Bridge shot at the moment, and traffic's flowing okay out of the CBD. The problems are in our suburbs, though, and as a result of the weather, we're grounded at Bankstown Airport. But a Greenacre accident close by to the airport, as we know that police operation unfolding, where a car went into that shop front earlier. All lanes of Baronia Road closed at Waterloo Road and Noble Avenue have created a real impact to traffic in the southwest, and we're seeing diversions heading through Greenacre, Waterloo Road, and trying to get towards Chullora and Bankstown. And then a nasty accident at Ryde a little earlier, so traffic heading home via Lane Cove Road, delayed by up to 30 minutes, travelling towards West Pymble and through to Ryde itself this evening. Vic LaRusso, live from the Able Banking Traffic Centre.
Promises a bit of misery today, and what do you know, you delivered.
Hugh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wow, have we got a cold front moving across southeastern Australia and southern districts of New South Wales. A low pressure system forms in the Tasman Sea. Up comes the wind, down comes the rain. Let's have a look at what happened today temperature-wise. 15 through to 17, not much of a spread there. Currently it is 16 degrees, so we've got 15, 16 and 17 covered. Let's have a look at New South Wales for you. Broken Hill, chilly, 15 degrees. The wind chill was everywhere. Orange 12, 17 Dubbo, 16 Tamworth, -5 at Cooma if you don't mind. Tweed Heads the high at 22 degrees. Lismore 20, 18 at Coffs Harbour and Nowra 16. The soaking suburbs of Sydney on a Thursday that really did thump. Campbelltown 18, Bankstown 19, 19 degrees Parramatta, Richmond 18 degrees, Mascot 18 degrees, 40 to 60 millimetres of rain tomorrow. I might have to swim to work. Hugh.
Indeed, trying to keep your head above it, Tim. Thank you for that. Coming up next, the pandemic picks up pace with the global infection rate now reaching a new record high. A cyclone triggers a humanitarian crisis that is being called worse than COVID-19. And some job hope for out-of-work Australians as ads jump by more than 25%. Today's petrol prices around the suburbs of Sydney. The cheapest we were able to find was 92.9 cents. That was in Lanier. The average price across Sydney is $1.09, and those prices are set to go down this weekend.
I am able.
I am able.
I am able.
We are Able Banking.
What are you hoping that a dog will bring to your life?
Oh, happiness. My wife's been very ill. She passed away. Before she passed away, she said, get yourself a little dog.
What a lovely day now. Perfect day to meet a new dog.
This is Ruby.
She's come into us because her owner died.
When she came in, she was dragging her tail. She's coming to you now.
Oh, thank you.
That was when her tail went up. Means that she's happy with us.
Yeah.
I think this is what his wife envisaged when she said, go and get yourself a little dog.
It's a match made in doggy heaven. 7 o'clock Saturday on 10.
I suddenly realised we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
There's nothing like a hot mug of Milo. Keeps you feeling all warm and snug. Yep, I could really go for a hot Milo now. Love it.
Right now, home has never been more important for all of us. So if you're in the market for a new home, McDonald Jones would like to give you more certainty for your future by offering a $45,000 cash discount. That's a $45,000 cash discount off single and two-storey homes. McDonald Jones Homes, making it easier than ever to help you build your future. Don't lose sight of your dream. Discover more. Visit a display home today.
Amy has always helped Australians get back on the road. But now, more than ever, it's vital those on the front line get to where they need to be. That's why we're now offering free roadside assist to all doctors, nurses, hospital staff and first responders Australia-wide until the end of the year. Amy and non-Amy customers. Here's to supporting the everyday heroes who are supporting the rest of us. To take advantage of this offer, go to amy.com.au.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Meet the revolutionary Sleeping Duck mattress taking Australia by storm. It's the next generation mattress reimagined by aerospace engineers, making history. Choices best overall mattress 2 years in a row. That's Sleeping Duck. One giant leap for your sleep.
The MG Triple Value sale is now on. Get triple value this month with $777 cash back across the range, an MG gift pack and MG 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Go ahead, give your taste buds a thrill and think beyond the flame and grill. Sausage baked, rolled, pan-fried or in a stew. You'll love all the things our sausages can do. The British Sausage Ham and Bacon Company. Australian made, the British way.
For stepping up in tough times. For doing the little things. For keeping your distance. And your sense of humour. For the courage you've shown. And protecting your community. Thanks, Australia. The changes to stop the coronavirus aren't easy, but they're working. Keep going. And don't forget to download the COVID Safe app today. Together, we're stopping the spread. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Your 2-minute noodles.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
Are getting a MasterChef makeover tonight.
This is 10 News First. The world has recorded its highest ever number of COVID cases in a single day. More than 106,000 people have tested positive to the virus in just 24 hours. Most are in the United States, Russia, Brazil and India. More than 5 million people have now tested positive to COVID-19. The global death toll currently sits at 370,000.
We're very concerned about the rising numbers of cases in low and middle-income countries.
The true number of cases is thought to be much higher, with testing limited in many poorer countries. At least 20 people have died and thousands more have lost their homes after Cyclone Amphan smashed into India and Bangladesh. Mass evacuations saved millions of people, but there are fears the efforts may have put survivors in greater danger from COVID-19.
A wall of wind rips the roofs off buildings and sends homes tumbling as trees buckle at their roots. Locals sought shelter wherever they could as Cyclone Amphan made landfall with brutal force. Many hunkered down in the dark as it toppled power lines and sparked electrical fires. The deadly weather system formed in the Bay of Bengal 6 days ago, barrelling towards India and Bangladesh at nearly 200 kilometres an hour before crashing into the coast last night. Seawater surged 17 kilometres inland, flooding homes and farms that were already drenched by heavy rain. Thousands are feared homeless and more than a dozen people have been killed, but it could have been much worse. A mass evacuation effort spared more than 2.6 million residents, but authorities fear they've moved many out of the path of one disaster into the arms of another. Evacuees were packed together in rescue centres in an area where the threat of COVID-19 looms large.
No social distance is maintained there. For that reason, the fear of coronavirus spread is persistent.
Now, a waiting game, as both countries try to rebuild and assess the fallout of fighting a crisis on two fronts. Amber Caneen for 10 News First.
The state of emergency has been declared for parts of the US state of Michigan after days of heavy rain. 2 dams have burst, forcing the evacuation of tens of thousands of people, with floodwaters cutting off towns and swallowing dozens of houses.
Experts are describing this as a 500-year event. It's going to have a major impact on this community and on our state.
The floodwater has also reached a large chemical complex and a toxic cleanup site, raising fears of a broader environmental disaster. A huge fire has broken out at a plastic recycling plant in northeastern England. 20 crews battled for hours to put out the blaze, which smothered the town of Newton-le-Willows in thick, toxic smoke. It's not clear what sparked the fire, but it came on Britain's hottest day so far this year. There are no reported injuries. In California, a doorbell camera has captured the moment a small plane crashed into a primary school playground, killing the pilot. Fortunately, the school was closed because of the coronavirus pandemic when the aircraft hit the basketball court. The single-engined plane came down 6 kilometres short of its intended destination at a local airport. Troops from Russia's National Guard have shown their softer side, helping a family of ducks across a busy road. Traffic was stopped both ways as the 2 adult ducks and their 12 ducklings waddled their way across 10 lanes near the centre of Moscow. Luckily, people were patient. Nobody quacked it as the little family made it to a nearby park. Still to come, parking inspectors are back patrolling the city's streets, but is it too soon? Plus, drive-ins make a comeback in Sydney where you can catch a live performance from your car. And an immortalised Bon Scott recreates a famous AC/DC music clip.
Chopsticks at the ready.
We would like you to pimp up these instant noodles.
Your 2-minute noodles are getting a MasterChef makeover.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
The pimped up 2-minute noodles. Tonight on 10.
Hi guys. Notice anything? Oh, look at these greys. For a second I thought, okay Grace, I'm ready to see you. But I'm not. I am not ready for this much grey.
Excellence Creme by L'Oreal Paris.
I don't think there's ever going to be a better before and after.
3 steps for 100% gray coverage and rich, radiant color.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Boom! Is what I'm talking about. Self-care is self-worth because now more than ever, we're all worth it.
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zum zum.
Save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you get a new Allianz comprehensive car insurance policy online.
Hey, good to go.
Thanks. Get that Allianz feeling. Search for a quote today.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, ugh, what's that smell? Pino Clean washing machine cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
Just for one day.
OK, Dan, you know the drill. No, we don't stop there, Dan. This is new Up and Go No Added Sugar. The goodness of original Up and Go, only now available with no added sugar. Now we're talking, Dan. Now we're talking. New Up and Go No Added Sugar. It's next level goodness.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Do you know what type of cough you have? Do you have the right cough medicine? Bronchodual relieves any cough. It can be used for the relief of dry, tickly, chesty, mucus or phlegm coughs. Bronchodual relieves any cough.
Our top stories tonight. A major emergency response is still underway in Greenacre after a car slammed into a store. At least 12 people have been injured this afternoon, including the driver. A young woman has been stabbed to death, allegedly at the hands of her husband in their Quakers Hill home. Police say the 27-year-old had taken out a restraining order against the accused just 4 weeks before today's deadly attack. And there have been fireworks during a parliamentary inquiry into the state's coronavirus response, with both the police minister and our top police officer accused of not understanding our current coronavirus laws. Well, this is the story of a small miracle behind one man's few steps today. Paul Cronin was a passenger on the Ruby Princess cruise ship, and he was one of those who caught COVID-19. And he got it bad. 5 weeks in ICU, 3 of those in a coma. But today he walked out, a little shaky, but on his way home.
A guard of honour for an emotional farewell. Paul Faraguna on his feet leaves the Royal Adelaide Hospital after 37 days in intensive care, critically ill with coronavirus he contracted on the Ruby Princess cruise ship.
You going okay?
Yeah, no worries.
You want to keep walking?
I'll tell you when.
Yeah, tell us.
It's a moment his family have prayed for, but feared may never happen. At his worst, the 68-year-old was placed into an induced coma for 21 days.
He is one amazing, resilient gentleman who I don't think I've ever seen him be down at all in the whole time he's been here with us.
First admitted into hospital on March 22nd, Mr Faraguna's condition quickly deteriorated and he was the first COVID patient admitted into intensive care in SA.
We honestly didn't think he'd make it through, but to see him come out the other side is the most amazing gift you can have out of this pandemic.
Leaving a letter of thanks for medical staff. Even though I don't remember any of the time that I spent in the ICU, I very much appreciate the caring treatment I received and would like to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Paul Faraguna only took his first steps on his own this week. He now faces a long rehabilitation journey, likely 4 to 6 weeks, to rebuild his strength.
Just watch him get better, definitely a miracle.
Hannah Ford for 10 News First.
And the Premier Gladys Berejiklian has weighed in on the City of Sydney's decision to resume handing out parking fines from next week. The Premier says it will put more pressure on the public transport system, which will already be struggling to operate safely as workers return to the CBD.
The free-for-all is almost over. From Monday, it's business as usual for city parking rangers. But the Premier says it's too soon.
We need to consider what is the safest way for people to move around, and driving a car is one of those safe ways, and we have to be flexible about the parking opportunities that do exist.
As COVID-19 cases increased in late March, City of Sydney parking inspectors were told to only issue fines if there was a risk to health and safety. But as the restrictions are winding back, so too is the council's generosity.
Maybe once all the restrictions been lifted, they could look at doing something like that, then bring it back then, but maybe a bit soon.
I think it's a bit too quick because people are still confused with what's going on.
And there are concerns it will put too much pressure on the public transport system, which will be operating with a severely reduced capacity for the foreseeable future.
And that puts challenge on the transport network, and parking is one area where we are looking at all the options. So I would ask councils to work with us.
And if you can work from home, please keep doing it for now. Leah Harris for 10 News First.
Well, despite fewer drivers being on the road, speeding fines have skyrocketed across the state during the pandemic. In March, more than 51,000 people were caught by speed and red light cameras, costing drivers nearly $21 million in fines. That's up $5 million on the month before. Worryingly, more than 12,000 people were busted speeding in a school zone. That's the highest monthly total in 7 years, raking in $4.7 million for the state government. Well, there is some welcome news for office workers who were facing potentially lengthy delays waiting for a lift in high-rise towers. Safe Work Australia has changed its guidelines to say there is no longer a requirement to provide 4 square metres of space per person in elevators. The landlords of Australia Square Tower were predicting delays of more than an hour as workers returned. However, Safe Work does recommend people maintain a safe distance while they're in the lift waiting areas. Matt Burke is here with the day in sport, and the NRL draw has been revealed. It has created some controversy.
You're never going to please everyone, Hugh. Good evening. You could say the draw is a little softer for some more than others, as Parramatta gets some luck, but the reigning premiers feel hard done by. Plus, the Giz does the first clean sweep in the Supercars E-Series. Then it all came crashing down.
I am able.
I am able.
I am able.
We are able banking.
We're checking in with Kate Langbrook in Italy next.
Hey, do you like chocolate?
I love chocolate.
Oh, do you love laughing?
Craziest thing I'd ever seen.
Do you love superheroes?
I love you guys so much.
You're going to love Friday night with Jamie and Graham from 7:30 on 10. You'll love to see it.
Hey mate, sign here.
Sign here. Fast track your shop with Repco Home Delivery.
Pay less every day at The Good Guys. This Acer laptop only $1,299. This Motorola phone only $249. This Hisense soundbar only $195. Plus new Fitbit Charge 4. Pay less every day only at The Good Guys.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you or someone you know is affected, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice, support and counselling for women and men, contact 1-800-RESPECT. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Do you know what type of cough you have? Do you have the right cough medicine? Bronchodual relieves any cough. It can be used for the relief of dry, tickly, chesty, mucus or phlegm coughs. Bronchodual relieves any cough.
Want to sell something for instant cash? We're open. Looking to buy from a huge range of quality second-hand goods for less? We're open. Cash Converters. Find us online or visit us in store.
We believe experiencing life helps build your child's immunity and resilience. That's why we've developed Aptamil Toddler. With scientifically proven ingredients that nutritionally support their immune system and cognitive function. Build their resilience every day. Aptamil Toddler. raise them resilient.
At GIO, we know when it comes to home insurance, everyone loves to save. But here's something you might not know. With our 3 levels of home insurance coverage, you can choose one that best suits your needs and budget. See? It pays to be in the know. It's just one of the many ways you can save with GIO. Call 13 10 10 today. You know with GIO.
Different is making rather than buying, and saving rather than discarding. Embrace different and find the glad in it.
Hey mate, sign here.
Sign here. Fast track your shop with Repco Home Delivery.
Your 2-minute noodles
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
are getting a MasterChef makeover tonight.
Tonight's Sport Report is brought to you by Repco. Get your order delivered to your door. Shop now at repco.com.au.
Good evening. Well, don't mention the draw. That's the play on the famous Faulty Towers line from the Roosters, because mentioning the draw is strictly forbidden. Club Supremo Nick Politis furious about the Premier's tough title defence. With the revised fixtures, here's Emma Lawrence.
Well, as expected, there are some notable winners and losers from today. You could say the Parramatta have the dream draw. Why? Because they only play the 4 competition heavyweights once each. That is the Roosters, Raiders, Storm and Bunnies. Some other notable winners include the Raiders, Panthers and Sharkies. Now, in this so-called losers category is defending premiers the Roosters. They have to play the top 4 teams from last year twice each. And let's not forget, they are 0-2.
There are no easy games. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. There's always going to be elements of inequality in any long competition.
There'll be 2 grand final rematches between the Chooks and Raiders, but who makes this year's decider? Well, the game's boss was playing it very cool.
So I'm going to get myself into trouble here, so I won't answer this. So I'm going to actually just smile and say everyone has their opinion on this. And I certainly have mine, but I'm not going to share it today.
We got confirmation today of the men's Origin fixtures. They'll be the first 3 Wednesdays in November. And just as exciting, for the 3rd year in a row, the women's match will be on a standalone Friday this year on the 13th of November.
Well, it's just a tremendous product. Like the product itself, I mean, you know, we get close to 1 million people watching it. So it wasn't, to be honest, ever in debate.
So it's almost showtime. 7 days until the season kicks off. It all begins up at Suncorp Stadium with the Broncos hosting the Eels.
And the revamped NRL fixture has done no favours for Melbourne. The Storm go up against 4 of the big guns twice in the remaining 18 rounds, copying the premiers, the Roosters, as well as Canberra, Souths and Manly.
The 2 long trips this year, we've missed out on them. We'd have to go to New Zealand and we'd have to go up to Townsville. So, yeah, overall, I'd say there's always a couple of little negatives in there, but there's always a couple of positives as well.
And the Storm at least won't have to contend with losing players due to state of origin. And Parramatta is feeling fit and ready to face the Broncos next Thursday. Many see the Eels draw as favourable, given they only face the Roosters, Storm and Raiders once. They also play 5 matches in a row at their home fortress, Bankwest Stadium.
Yeah, I guess it'll be a little bit of an advantage. You know, we obviously know the field pretty well, but, you know, there's not 30,000 Parramatta fans there screaming and helping you out during the game. So that'll be a bit different.
Meantime, 260-game veteran Andrew McCulloch will be in Knights colours next week. He switched from the Broncos to cover the loss of injured hooker Jaden Brayley. Now, whether the NRL returns with 1 or 2 referees won't be known until this weekend. The referee's challenge to revert to 1 whistleblower will be heard by the Fair Work Commission from Saturday. The refs will argue their enterprise bargaining agreement implies the NRL must use 2 referees. Even if they lose, the referees vow they won't take strike action. Shane van Gisbergen has produced the first perfect round of the E-Series, winning all 3 races in round 7 to snatch the championship lead. He pipped Cam Waters to take the opener in Charlotte, but it wasn't all smooth sailing at the finish.
Monstrous contact. Van Gisbergen trips over. Waters trips over.
And the Kiwi backed it up with a double at Daytona to take a 64-point series lead over Scott McLaughlin. And Hugh, we are looking forward for the real thing very soon.
Aren't we just, Matt? Thank you for that. Coming up next, there has been a development in that Greenacre crash. The driver behind the wheel is now in police custody. We will have the latest details shortly.
And here it comes, the weather about to get wild. Right now it's 15 degrees at Coogee. The weather wall about to get a drenching, and it's up next.
The biffo between premiers over state borders next.
Chopsticks at the ready.
We would like you to pimp up these instant noodles.
Your 2-minute noodles are getting a MasterChef makeover.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
The pimped up 2-minute noodles, tonight on 10. And in MasterChef's Best Dish Week, which one of these amazing dishes is the greatest ever dish?
Wow.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of craving something that I can't have. I finally found the right snack.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
We're coming to you live from the scene. Tell us what you've got there. Toilet paper?
Nah, just dinner stuff.
Right. You must have paid an unprecedented price for that during these unprecedented times.
Nah, they're from Aldi. Prices are always low.
Let's just go.
Whatever happens, our low prices are here to stay. Aldi. Good. Different.
JB stores are open for business with the hottest deals to keep you connected. Get $150 on the latest 128GB Samsung Galaxy S20 phone. Take 15% off Lenovo and Asus computers and stacks more. Buy in-store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Whether you're turning portraits into paintings and floors into art rooms, we're here for all those messy little moments.
Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer. Receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card when you sign up to a new service on the Optus $65 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months with 80 gigabytes of data for use in Oz. That's right. Sign up to a new service on the $65 per month 24-month Optus SIM-only plan and you'll receive a $700 Harvey Norman gift card. Offer ends June 30. New services only, not available with other offers. Harvey Norman, your premium Optus dealer.
Even remotely, our home loan specialists can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
Australians of all ages are choosing Light and Easy. Light and Easy can even assist those on aged care home care packages. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having healthy meals delivered, call us on 13 15 12.
The BHP Vital Resources Fund is supporting community organisations providing essential community services during the coronavirus challenge. For more information, visit bhp.com/vitalresources.
Well, as you can see, Tim Bailey's back, and I'm not sure we're going to like what you have to say, Tim.
You might have a point, Hugh. Yes, here it comes. We've been pointing to it all week, and the big wet about to fall all over Sydney town. Let's have a look at the Daily Bailey weather wall, and it's a dynamic-looking map. It draws your attention to the north, where the jet stream cloud drives rainfall all the way from the Northern Territory down into northern districts of New South Wales. Now, in the south, a cold front barrels Hills powers up from the south, and we have a collision of the cloud. The cold front, a big pool of cold air, clashes with the moist air, and the cold front morphs into a low pressure system in the Tasman Sea. Here comes precipitation, here comes snow, small hail, thunderstorms, and the wind. All right, weather map up next, and it's a day where I'm earning my money. High pressure system in the Great Australian Bight. Not too much to worry about there. There's the low pressure system. It's about 250 nautical miles off the coast of New South Wales. It's going to drive 5 to 6 metre swells onto the coast. Rainfall 40 to 80 millimetres on the coastal fringe from Ulladulla through to Gosford, Sydney included. So it is a foul old Friday coming your way. Business of the Brolly, you bet. Predicted precipitation, you bet. Drips and drops across rooftops and crops. Here it comes. Sydney, you are going to be soaking in it. The coastal fringe getting torrential right through Friday. All right, so where do we go for a little bit of light entertainment? After all the drama of that forecast, we go to you. You power this next section, and it's autumn after all, and beautifully captured by Love Leah. Mount Wilson shared on Instagram, a glorious autumnal shot. Hashtag Daily Bailey and SW. Follow me on Insta, folks. It's Daily Bailey 10, the little weatherman. Get involved in this as we push towards 50,000 photographs in Australia's favourite photo album. Next up on the screen that's got to be seen, Cabbage Tree Bay, underneath the rainbow. Seaweed Sam, you've done it again. We love that shot. Rainbow, I don't think you'll see one tomorrow, but you'll see plenty of that grey wet stuff. It is going to dominate a foul old Friday. All right, and the only blue sky you'll see, well, a blue groper at Kurnell. Nullify 22:30. Brilliant, brilliant work. Thank you very much indeed. Shared on Insta, hashtag Daily Bailey NSW. All right, forecast time. Let's go and have a look at what is happening tomorrow. Perth, 23 degrees, fine and sunny. Adelaide, 9 through to 15, showery. Hobart, 15 degrees. Melbourne, 14 under a shower. Canberra, it cops at 2. Down to 4 for a top of 11 with plenty of rainfall. Brisbane, 20 degrees, fine and sunny. Showery in Cairns, 27 degrees. Darwin, 27 degrees. Big rain across the north of Australia. And Sydney joins in the party tomorrow. New South Wales, let's have a look at you. There was good rainfall across the central tablelands and the north today. Broken Hill, 13 degrees tomorrow, fine and sunny. Dubbo, 14 likewise. Orange, 7 degrees, fine and sunny. West of the Divide, your blue sky. East of the Divide, you are soaking in it, as you can see by the map. Talking of which, the super soaking suburbs of Sydney look like this. Parramatta, 15 degrees. 15 Bankstown. It's chilly. Campbelltown, 15 degrees. 16 in Sydney. Terry Hills, 13. Gosford, 15 degrees. 40 to 80 millimetres of rain on the way. The forecast, it's wet, wet, wet. And the 7-day forecast, your weekend included, in 25 minutes.
On 10 News First, some big news now. A big development in that car crash in Greenacre. The driver behind the wheel is now in police custody. 10 shoppers were injured in the crash. We'll have the latest live from the scene. A man has now been charged with the murder of his wife after she was stabbed to death at their Quakers Hill home. And community sports clubs are pleading for clarity about when they can get back onto the field. The latest coronavirus advice for them coming up shortly. The driver behind the wheel of a car that crashed into a busy shop in Greenacre this afternoon is now in police custody. The 51-year-old had a history of driving offences and is now undergoing mandatory blood and alcohol testing. Police are still trying to piece together what happened before the car smashed into the shop, injuring 10 people.
It all seems to happen in slow motion, through the smoke and the beeping.
What's wrong?
A minivan emerges. It crosses the busy Greenacre intersection and smashes through the front door of a store. Glass, clothes and mannequins are strewn across the floor as the car finally comes to a stop. Hijab House was packed, mainly with young women, with Eid, the end of Ramadan, just days away.
10 people in or close to the vicinity of the house have been taken to hospital. One person has serious leg injuries and possibly a second person with serious injuries. The driver of the offending vehicle is also at hospital. He has been under arrest since the incident happened, and he's now undergoing blood and urine testing.
At this stage, there is no suggestion the crash was deliberate. Now, it is still a crime scene here and police are still in the shop collecting evidence to form their investigation. Now, we know the driver has been arrested. He has not yet been charged with anything. Police are awaiting the results of blood and urine tests. Now, he is mostly uninjured, I'm told, but those 10 shoppers, they will have to recover from their injuries after police describe a chaotic scene here this afternoon. This area is likely to remain closed for a little while longer while police continue to collect that evidence so they can understand exactly what happened and how that car came through the shop windows.
At Greenacre, Sydney P, thank you. A 31-year-old Western Sydney man has been charged with murdering his wife after her body was discovered inside their Quakers Hill home. Neighbours have described her death as shocking and disturbing and recalled hearing the 27-year-old woman screaming and crying in the minutes before police were called.
Yes, late this afternoon, 31-year-old Baltej Lalna was charged with the murder of his wife. It was just after 6:30 last night that police were called to his Quakers Hill home. When they arrived, they discovered the body of his wife in their bedroom.
She was just screaming, crying. Police, ambulance, everything came here.
Now, police arrested the 31-year-old. He spent the night in Blacktown Hospital under police guard. He was released early this morning and taken to Riminton Police Station, where he spent the day being questioned by detectives.
From our investigation, it will be alleged that the husband has actually obviously assaulted and murdered his wife.
Police also revealed today that it wasn't the first time they'd been called to the house. They had issued an AVO against Baltej last month to protect his wife. It was served with standard conditions that still allowed the couple to remain living together.
You've never really feel unsafe in this area, so waking up to a news something like this is, it's very shocking and very disturbing.
Tonight, Baltej remains behind bars here at Riminton Police Station. He'll face court on that murder charge tomorrow.
The government has been left fuming over a federal court decision that it claims has driven uncertainty into the jobs market. A ruling from the court now allows casuals to claim paid sick and annual leave, but it could leave a bill as big as $12 billion.
And if the cost impact is so great that it would cause a lot of small businesses during what is their most challenging time to fold or go into liquidation or have to stand people down, that's not an outcome that's in anyone's mutual interest.
The government is now talking about using legislation to overrule the court decision. The police commissioner has been accused of not knowing the COVID-19 rules his officers are enforcing. A Greens MP levelled the attack at Mick Fuller during a fiery hearing into the government's response to the pandemic.
Policing a pandemic, 1,300 fines issued, and our top cop says he's personally reviewed every one of them. At $1,000 a pop, breaking COVID-19 restrictions is costly. Sometimes concessions are made.
We're up to about 60 fines were pulled, and I think the first one I pulled was a lady dropping off a hair straightener to a friend.
But even the Commissioner may have grappled to keep up with rapidly changing rules. On March 31, the law stated a person must not, without reasonable excuse, leave the person's place of residence. On May 15, that law was revoked. But later that night, police fined a 19-year-old man at Emu Plains because he did not provide a reasonable excuse for leaving home.
Now, you would have reviewed that. You obviously would have ticked off on that. But yet there was no obligation for him to have a reasonable excuse. How did this happen?
I'll take it on notice, thank you.
Don't you think that you should know?
The Premier is keen to call notice soon on bans stopping the return of international students.
By using that quarantine process we've already set up to make sure it's 100% safe, I think we should consider when foreign students are allowed back.
At Sydney University alone, up to 12,000 jobs may depend on their return.
The university is looking at a hole in its budget of $2.8 billion, of about $470 million for this year. That's significant, but we figure we can wear it if it's just this year, but we need to get those international students back.
It all hinges on what the federal government decides to do with travel. For foreign students in Australia, it's been hard too, studying alone at home without work after paying tens of thousands of dollars for a semester.
So have you
are struggling here to food and groceries and rent, all these things.
The way that these international students are being treated right now is scandalous.
Also stepping up the pressure on the Premier, the beauty industry.
I won't talk about my own personal grooming, but I will say this, that it's fair to say I've been heavily lobbied by half the population.
Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
Now, sporting bodies have been given the all-clear for their players to hit the fields and courts and water so long as they keep within the state's public health guidelines. But the ambiguity that presents has left them confused, with many calling on the state government to present a clear plan for their road back to competition.
Adults and kids alike are raring for community sport to get back up and running. But sporting bodies are confused about what they can and can't do and want a game plan for when they can get back to competitions.
I think there's definitely some confusion, and we're watching other states with dates dropping. We really need to try and understand what's possible here in New South Wales.
The New South Wales government has put the ball in each sports court, telling them they can play and train as long as they're still complying with the state's public health order. But the rest of Australia seems to have got the ball rolling. In Queensland, 10 players can take to the field if it's non-contact, which will double from June 12 and be allowed indoors too. In SA, competitive sport with 10 players is flagged to resume on June 8, while 10 Victorians can play social sports outside, so long as it's modified to allow for physical distancing.
Well, essentially the New South Wales government has dropped the ball. They should have a framework because the AIS has put out the guidelines.
And what we desperately need is an expert to tell us what we should do and tell us that in completely unambiguous terms.
When COVID-19 hit in March, winter sports participants were on the sidelines ready to play, with hundreds of thousands registering. But if these seasons don't go ahead, state sporting bodies face an uncertain future.
We're desperate to get community sport happening again.
A goal that needs an urgent assist from the state government. Kimberly Pratt for 10 News First.
Well, as restrictions slowly start to ease and parts of the economy wake up again, employers are looking for workers. That is music to the ears of the hundreds of thousands of people who lost jobs during April. Here's Gillian Bowen with the Finance News.
Hello there. Are we on the road to recovery across the labour market? Seek analysis suggests some promising signs. In the 2 weeks to Sunday, new job ads posted on the website jumped almost 27%. Roles in the consumer services sector, which includes admin and office jobs, hospitality, tourism and retail, recorded the biggest growth. Let's have a look at it in graph form. Now, April's average is the baseline, as it was a real low point. Each colour represents a state. Now, you can see a big dive, and after a flat period in April, job ads are slowly starting to tick back up. But the Housing Industry Association is warning 500,000 jobs are at risk because of the building of new homes, and that it's forecast to drop by almost 50%. COVID-19 has seen a big fall in demand for rentals from international students and migrants, and of course there's economic uncertainty. It says the shock will last several years and requires government support. How did the share market finish up the day? Well, it ended in negative territory. Pokies maker Aristocrat Leisure saw red after COVID-19 casino closures hammered profits. Shares in our miners were down too after China flagged changes to import rules, while Afterpay hit records after revealing it now has 5 million active US customers. A quick look at the dollar. It's down against all the major currencies, buying 65.6 US cents. And that's finance.
Stay with us. Coming up next, a treat for AC/DC fans with Bon Scott back in the bed of a truck. In sport, the winners and losers of the revised NRL draw, and driving and loading for a machine gun golfer.
Lockdown restrictions may be easing here at home, but not everyone can head outside. Plus, Kate Lanebrook joins us as Italy gets back to business.
Chopsticks at the ready.
We would like you to pimp up these instant noodles.
Your 2-minute noodles are getting a MasterChef makeover.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
The pimped up 2-minute noodles. Tonight on 10.
Even though we need to stay inside, we can still keep moving.
Even when you're not outside, you can still move like you are. Because even when spaces are limited, you can still move without limits.
Your Ford dealer is still open and ready to help your business get back to business with high-vis value. So you can get a hard-working Ranger XLT for only $54,990 drive away. Or the great value Ranger XLS for just $46,490 drive away. And don't forget to check if your business is eligible for the government's instant asset write-off this financial year. So hurry into your Ford dealer now for high-vis value.
Manolo, you're so cold. Come in. What's wrong?
It's dry.
Your scalp might get dry in the winter too. Try Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care. It nourishes the scalp and keeps you up to 100% flake-free. Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Care.
Hello Fresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned, fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. Hello Fresh. Inspiration delivered.
What do I need to start banking online?
Setting up Westpac online banking is simple. Just have your bank details handy, set up a password for security and enter your contact details. Search Westpac Register. From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
Get massive May savings at Chemist Warehouse. Our huge Money Savers catalogue is out now. All big brand cosmetics are half price. All L'Oreal and Maybelline, half price. All Rimmel and Sally Hansen, half price. And all Revlon and Nude by Nature, half price. That's right, all big brand cosmetics are half price. For the biggest range at the lowest prices, shop at Chemist Warehouse and stop paying too much.
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zum zum.
Creating the ultimate memories sometimes means creating the toughest stains. Improved Omo Ultimate is Omo's most powerful laundry liquid. It attacks your tough stains first time and whitens and brightens. Try Omo Ultimate.
My wife, before she passed away, she said, get yourself a little dog.
This is Ruby.
Her owner died.
When she came in, she was dragging her tail. She's coming to you now.
Thank you.
That was when her tail went up. She's happy with us.
Yeah.
It's a match made in doggy heaven, 7 o'clock Saturday.
Welcome back. An additional charge has been laid against a Queensland man who was extradited from New South Wales, accused of murdering his parents. Police allege Christopher Poulier bashed his parents, Loris and Frank, to death at their bed and breakfast north of Brisbane on Saturday before driving south. Today, he was also charged with attempted arson of the family home.
Given the nature of the allegations, it goes without saying that he's pretty overwhelmed. That's all he really said to me.
Poulier will remain behind bars until the matter returns to court in July. Of all the things that have changed in the past few months, live music and performances are tough to replicate in the real or in the digital world. But a new idea could see us rocking out behind the dashboard to some of our favourite artists while still staying safe.
Forget the big day out. This is the big day in your car. Boot scootin' and tootin' from behind the wheel at Australia's first drive-in gig. The car park, the new mosh pit in this strange world.
The horns were just the icing on the cake. That was hilarious.
Casey Donovan was the opening act in what promoters hope will be a new way to experience live music.
Based on what we've seen today, we're very confident this is going to be a resounding success.
Whipping out your phone isn't frowned upon. In fact, it's all part of it.
It's so interactive, like you're right there in their face and you're in there, so it's great.
That was our first Zoom experience and I was like, maybe
maybe it's not for us. It is strange, but it's fun at the same time. We're just missing a drink, that's all.
Today was just a test drive with more venues across New South Wales and Victoria and artists to be announced in the coming weeks.
While this isn't the perfect replacement for a night at the pub watching your favourite band or a day out at the festival, there are a few positives to this situation. Firstly, no one is sweating on me or spilling a drink. Secondly, you can get food delivered to your car door, meaning no waiting in long lines at the bar. I can sing as loudly and as off-key as I want. And finally, if the weather changes, no need for a poncho, just wind up the window.
But there's still no avoiding the dreaded Portaloo.
But you can absolutely leave your car. You do not have to bring a bottle.
With smiles and headlights beaming, the only thing flat about today were the batteries. Charlotte Goodlett for 10 News First.
And you can get away with any kind of dancing you like. Now, a bronze statue to stay on the theme in honour of the late AC/DC frontman Bon Scott has been removed from its home in the Perth suburb of Fremantle. The 800-kilogram sculpture was dug up to make way for one hell of a makeover.
Well, Bon Scott's such a hero, so they decided he needed a bigger and a better stage to put him up on, you know, where he belongs.
Of course they did. The statue will be returned to the revamped location in July. Time for some sport now with Matt Burke. And Matt, not everyone's happy about the new NRL draw.
I think that's an understatement, Hugh. Good evening. Roosters chairman Nick Politis is fuming with their revised draw. The defending premiers have one of the toughest schedules, while Parramatta avoiding playing most of the competition's heavyweights twice.
There are no easy games. Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. There's always going to be elements of inequality in any long competition.
And there will be two grand final rematches, while the season will finish with another rivalry round, which includes the Bunnies taking on the Roosters. Parramatta's chances of going deep into the revamped NRL competition will be helped by a favourable draw, while star half Mitchell Moses says with their passionate fans shut out of games, he isn't sure of how much an advantage it will be playing in on home turf.
The Eels have been working hard and the luck of the draw is going their way. They'll face the Storm, Roosters and Raiders only once this season. And even some of their away games will be at their home ground, Bankwest.
I guess it'll be a little bit of an advantage. You know, we obviously know the field pretty well, but, you know, there's not 30,000 Parramatta fans there screaming and helping you out during the game, so that'll be a bit different.
Mitchell Moses and Dylan Brown started the season on fire, although it seems an age ago, and Brown is now blonde. They face the Broncos in Brisbane next Thursday, and the opposition is happy to pile on the praise.
They have a great mix of talent throughout their team that, you know, looks really capable of doing something in the competition.
Being more settled off the field has made Blake Ferguson a destructive force on it. He got engaged 3 weeks ago.
We're just chilling out, relaxing. Just end up doing it. Nothing massive. I'm not a romantic.
You're settling down, Fergo.
Oh, if you say so.
Andrew McCulloch's Broncos career ends on 260 games. He's joined Newcastle effective immediately to replace injured hooker Jayden Brayley. The Corona hibernation will end at 67 days. Every player looking forward to their first match, and Cowboys flyer Val Holmes has circled a couple of others.
I'm excited by our draw. Got to play Sharks twice, and you know, I'll be looking forward to that game.
He'll no longer be a Sharks favourite if he tears them to shreds. Vince Hammerley for 10 News First.
Now we know Sea Eagles coach Des Hasler is a little different, and while nearly all clubs wish they had more time to prepare for the NRL restart, Desi doesn't.
The baseline's had like 2 to 3 weeks, but honestly it's felt like 6. It really has. I certainly wouldn't be wanting any more.
And the Sea Eagles' first game back is against the Bulldogs on Sunday week. Now, swinging easy is the first thing they teach you when you play golf. Well, this bloke just put it into hyperdrive.
6, 7, 8.
Now, we've all tried something like this on the golf range, and at that pace, a bucket of balls wouldn't last long at all. So, for getting into the swing of it, the fast and the furious driver plus the courageous ball loader can tee it up for our play of the day. And Hugh, my back is sore just watching that.
Yeah, I think I'll be like a bread machine, slice after slice after slice. Thank you, Matt. Coming up next, Tim Bailey is back with a big day of weather coming your way.
chopsticks at the ready.
We would like you to pimp up these instant noodles.
Your 2-minute noodles are getting a MasterChef makeover.
My mouth is tingling.
All I can say is wow.
The pimped up 2-minute noodles, tonight on 10.
Geeks to You saved my life.
Actually, I just saved all these photos. This PC had a virus.
Geeks to You set up, synced up and sorted out my world.
Well, her IT world at least.
With our new improved download speed, we're streaming every night.
Is there no end to their problem-solving powers?
If there is a problem we can't fix, you don't pay.
They may be geeks to you, but they're miracle workers to me.
Call 1300 Geeks to You and we'll come to you.
With Toyota Warranty Advantage covering you for at least 5 years, still feeling it, Mick?
Toyota value stays with you, like Kluger 2-wheel drive GX Auto. Drive away from $41,990. Older feeling. Toyota.
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
All of the music.
Yeah. Oh!
Who's this?
You'll make a great dad one day.
You think so?
I know so.
Elevate has more folic acid and iron than any other pregnancy multivitamin. Love grows with Elevate.
Infused oil deluxe crisps from Red Rock Deli.
Hi, Chris. As one of our Care Super members, let's go see your super at work. Hold on. I'll show you some of the opportunities and possibilities that are being explored for you. Your super should work as hard as you do, so we're making sure it does.
We're losing him?
What do you want to do?
Ew!
You don't give in. You don't give up. You push on when most would have pushed off. You lend a hand, whether a hand was asked for or not. It's called Aussie Spirit for good reason, because it takes spirit to get through times like these. Lucky you've got it in spades. It's what inspires us to be by your side to help. Together we'll get through this. We always do. Search Toyota, here to help.
Heats up with leaders split on what's best for the country. The push for a major new domestic violence inquiry after the latest completely failed Aussie victims. And are you part of the boomerang generation? And is the coronavirus crisis to blame? The project next.
A cold front morphs into a Tasman sea low and Friday is a weather bomb. Let's hit the Daily Bailey weather wall, the forecast where we get it all. And if you live in coastal areas of New South Wales, you are going to know you're alive tomorrow. There is the low pressure system in the Tasman Sea, about 250 nautical miles off the coast. It will produce 5 to 6 metre swells, plenty of torrential rain. Sydney looking at between 40 to 80 millimetres in the next 24 hours. Tonight even it starts to encroach and we could see some thunderstorms in the harbour city and the torrential rain starts as it gets dark. High pressure system across the Australian Bight, keeping everywhere pretty much fine and settled, but the story is the Tasman Sea low and a foul old Friday. OK, let's have a look at New South Wales tomorrow. If you are west of the Divide, you are sitting under blue blue skies. 13 degrees Broken Hill, Dubbo 14, Orange 7. It's cold. In fact, the central tablelands might even see a flake or two of snow. Wagga Wagga 13 degrees, Canberra does 11, showers, Bega, rain and 16. If you are east of the Divide, you are sitting under torrential rain, strong winds, maybe even thunderstorms and huge surf. Coffs Harbour 20 degrees, Tamworth 14, Newcastle 15 degrees. It's an ordinary old day. Sydney 9 through to 16. It'll be wet, wet, wet. Nowra, you will be soaking in it, down to 9 and a top of 14 degrees. The suburbs of Sydney tomorrow will be soaking, particularly by the coast. Here we go. Terry Hills, down to 8, a top of just 13 degrees. You're going to shake and you are going to be soaked. Gosford 15 degrees, down it comes. Mascot 16 degrees. Chance of storms as well, and the surf will put on a huge show. Parramatta 15 degrees, likewise Bankstown 15 at Penrith, and Campbelltown does 15. All right, 7-day forecast. Where do we go for a bit of relief? Well, forget about it. It's showery all the way until Wednesday, and in the Greater West, it is wet Saturday, maybe sun in and out. A weather bomb on the way tomorrow by the coast, Hugh.
Yeah, it's true. Thanks for that, Tim. That is 10 News First for this Thursday. It is May the 21st. Stand by now for the project. From all of us here at the 10 News team, thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Tonight, the COVID-19